Hi, I'm Jonathan from Some Talented People. Hello, LinkedIn family. So today's video is to help you guys with the way you perceive the world. And essentially, this is a lesson about how we use language. And I'll give you a couple of examples from my own experience and people I know, and then I'll hand over to the master of state, Tony Robbins, to give you some information about how people use language more generally. So what happens basically is this. The language you use, both internally and externally, is the way you describe your reality. And so when you have a limited number of words that you can use to describe situations, you limit the way that your emotions can actually deal with it. So, for example, changing a word can change the entire meaning and emotional response to a situation. You will probably, as I have in the past, tend to say, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do the other, yeah, I've got to do this, I've got a meeting here, blah, blah, blah. And the term got to implies or has the double-edged meaning that you don't want to. I've got to do this, it's being put upon me. Change that word to get to. And what you're showing and what you're communicating internally is that what you're about to do is something you're privileged to do. I get to do this. I get to wake up. I get to be independent. I get to be alive and healthy. And when you frame your language in these kind of terms, what happens is that you feel very differently about the experience you have of reality. Another example, I know a lady who's 80 now, and so it's unlikely she'll ever be able to change. And in conversations where she's present, she will go from the, it's terrible, it's awful, it's so bad, to describe things which are generally, pretty much on the level. She described, for example, my father had his cash card chewed up by the machine, and he was describing this situation, and I know, and he knows that big deal, phone up the bank, get a new card, 3 to 5 days, what's the problem? And she was unable to express her response to that reality with words other than, oh, it's so awful, screwing her face up and making a whole series of emotional and physiological responses to something which had not even happened to her. And so in that way, her experience of reality is ranging from good to bad to terrible to awful. And in that way, she does not have control of her reality. So I'm going to hand over to Tony Robbins now and have a look at his analysis of thousands and thousands of people he's met. You have a good day. I won't be at the end of this video, he will be, and I'll see you another day. Cheers.
The last thing is emotion. Now here's what I'll tell you about emotion. There are 6,000 emotions that we all have words for in the English language, which is just a linguistic representation, right? It changes by language. But if your dominant emotions, if I have more time, I have 20,000 people or 1,000, and I have them write down all the emotions that they experience in an average week. And I give them as long as they need. And on one side, they write empowering emotions, the other is disempowering. Guess how many emotions people experience? Less than 12. And half of those make them feel like so they got 5 or 6 good frickin' feelings, right? It's like they feel happy, excited, frustrated, overwhelmed, depressed. How many of you know somebody who no matter what happens finds a way to get pissed off? How many knows somebody like this? Or no matter what happens, they find a way to be happy or excited. How many know somebody like this? Come on.